Hello viewers, back to my channel. This time I'm going to try something really different which I've never tried before. I'm going to go on a walk, my one exercise allowed, and I'm going to walk around Brentwood and show you pictures that I normally take on my still cameras and put them on Flickr and stuff like that in various forums. They won't be exhibition prints, but they'll be interesting snaps, and I'll do it with my video camera. And I hope you enjoy it. So as we come out of the house, the first thing we see is some potted plants that my wife has specialised in with interesting little animals. So I have done a colour picture of this when it was sunshine, and I got a 500th f8 on my 35mm 100 ASA Fuji Superior film. Now what I'm going to do now is to show you where I'm going to go. There's our cars. Now we're going to go up the road there and walk up the hill. So I'm going to take my time because this is where I usually get breathless. Going up the hill into Park Road, turn left at the top and show you some interesting flowers. I won't video all the walk because it would be too boring and take too long. So we're in Park Road now with the keen gardeners and the lockdown. We've got loads and loads of green sacks. Interesting red bush here, and just along here some bluebells, because we're not allowed to go in the woods now. So I took a photograph of these bluebells with my 150mm lens on my Pentax, and that got quite a good reading. So that's the bluebells there. There's interesting spring flowers along here in Park Road. This is a nice little group of flowers I took on a rockery in Park Road. I took this with my Ensign Selfix camera when I went out, and also my 1930s Bessa with a Voitar lens, and they're on my Flickr stream. And we're coming out of Park Road, and we're going to go right down the end here, which is Western Road, right down the very end, and turn left into the High Street. Look how busy it is on a Sunday, one car and nobody walking. So I hope I'm pretty safe that I don't catch anything while I'm out walking. So I won't video the whole walk down here. In Western Road I found this interesting collection of nice colourful flowers, and I did a picture with my Ensign Selfix from the 1950s, and that's on my Flickr stream. Now this is the main road into Brentwood, all the way from London. It used to be the main A12, but it's now the B1023. This is the Roman road, so the Roman legions used to march from Londinium, and used to come up this road right through up into Brentwood High Street, and that road goes all the way to the Colchester garrison where the Romans were based. Well, luckily we now have a big bypass, because otherwise you have all the lorries come thundering through this little narrow road. We're going to go across the road to a metal sculpture, because that is one of my test subjects. It's difficult to find it on the video here. Anyway, we'll go across the road. This is the metal sculpture at the end of Brentwood High Street, with lots of interesting things on here showing the history of medieval times. And we've even got the Mayflower ship, and we've got I think it's the Mayflower there, that's the one. It's difficult to see in the video screen with a bright sun on. Now we're in Hart Street, which lies parallel with the main road, the main Brentwood High Street, a little side road. There's an interesting reflection here on the pub, which is served, you can see vehicles coming in and out, but I photographed that. But next to it is a interesting shadow effect. We'll see if it's still there, which is only on certain times of the year, and you have to have sunshine for it. Let's see if it's there. Ah, It's a bit disappointing, look, that shadow's only short. Sometimes it's right the way length, and I do good black and white photos of that. This is the famous Sugar Hut nightclub in the main street. Closed down, of course. Nobody's allowed to go in there. But I'm in Crown Street. Another little interesting road with lots of bollards to stop the cars coming down. And you can get interesting against the light shots here, which I've done several times on black and white film. I photographed this scene under this little tunnel toward the gardens of the Bay Tree Centre many times in black and white, because you can get a person walking across the frame as a silhouette. But now with the lockdown, I could wait here all morning for somebody to come along. There's never one when you want one, is there? Like a policeman. Never one of them about when you want one. And this is the famous Spread Eagle pub. And on the wall around the side is always some interesting artwork. So we'll have a look at that now, because it's been changed recently as a celebration of the end of World War I in Europe. The poppies, and I've made some good photographs of this. Figures on the wall, soldiers, look. I've done all that, and I stood down here with a wide angle lens, careful I don't get run over. Now they're going to have a meeting in the pub May the 8th, but that'll all be cancelled because nobody's allowed to go there now. What a shame. Look, nice poppies. That's changed very often, that wall art. It makes good pictures. Now these are some test subjects I'm always taking on different cameras. This is the Brentwood St Helens Catholic Cathedral, and across the road is Brentwood School, which is a fee-paying school. It's very old, and I've done lots of work in there for the newspapers. Now from this angle, Brentwood Catholic Cathedral is in the foreground, but behind it on the left is another spire, and that is St Thomas's of Canterbury Church, Church of England. I've also done lots of test pictures from this angle with yellow filters and polarising filter, you name it, I've done it. Now this is the coat of arms of Brentwood, and I've done lots of pictures of this with 300mm lenses, and it's a good test picture. That blackbird there is called a chuff. Now we're on what is known as Shenfield Common. It's not actually in Shenfield, it's near to Brentwood town centre. But there's the famous pond where I'm always photographing. So we'll have a walk across here. I can hold the camera steady and have a look at the pond, because I'm always doing test photographs with all my old cameras here. And there's a nice little cottage opposite, which if you're lucky, you get the sunshine on. So I'll show you how I compose up a picture of the cottage across the pond. There's a lady standing there acting as human interest. There's the cottage across the pond, which always makes good pictures. And of course you've got bride and grooms coming here from the registry office, and they have their wedding photographs taken here. I've done lots of weddings here years gone by when there was some work. Now all the work's dried up because nobody gets married. They all live with partners anymore, so there's no more wedding photography. The pond is a load of Canada geese, more than there usually are. People say, why is there so many? Well, I put on there on a forum that people don't eat them, but somebody said, well, you can eat Canada geese, but I don't reckon it's as good as Gressingham duck myself. I wouldn't like to eat them. Pathway through the woods with some spring foliage. I've explored all this with different lenses and messed about with colour and black and white. One last little quick scene of the pond at Shenfield Common. There's loads of water in it now because of all the rain. Sometimes it almost dries up in the summertime. the Artichoke Pub and Restaurant, and then that tree with the big blobs in, I photographed that. That is mistletoe growing on it. Yes, that's what you kiss under if you're lucky at Christmas time. That is the chapel of Brentwood Public School, the fee-paying school. I've been in there. They've got nice stained glass windows, and a nice organ, and that's where the pupils go to get a bit of religious inspiration. It's opposite Brentwood Catholic Cathedral, the other entrance. In the churchyard or graveyard of Brentwood Catholic Cathedral, there's lots of spring flowers, and I've been along here and done loads of pictures of these with my still camera. Nice little group, partly against the light here. Now we're going back to Brentwood High Street to the famous Wilson's Corner. This store with the clock tower used to be called Wilson's, and in the 1900s there was a big fire and it burned down, but it's not called Wilson's anymore. Changed its name several times, but it's still called Wilson's Corner. And there's a big roundabout system with 2 roundabouts. You've got to be careful going around these, but there's not much traffic at the moment because it's all on lockdown. Normally it's packed with traffic, this roundabout. And then down the road there is the memorial to William Hunter. If I can find him. Where is he? Oh, there it is. That monolith. He was a martyr. He was burned at the stake here in Brentwood because of his religious beliefs. He wouldn't renounce his Catholic religion. They burned him. It's all a story on there. Brentwood High Street, deserted. Only a few cars going around. And there's some police cars because they're checking up to make certain people are moving about, not sunbathing. There's one. We're going to have a quick look at St Thomas's Road, but in the distance is the actual St Thomas's Church. And I'm going to walk down there and take you into the graveyard where there's lots of photogenic subjects. One subject I take is the statue of Christ here. It's always in shadow. I've never seen the sun on it. So when I do photograph it, I use a bit of fill-in flash. And as you can see, it's coming out underexposed now because of the bright background. Here on this east door, there's some interesting sculptures in the wall. It only get the sun at very rare intervals at certain times of the year. And these statues, which I do a lot of tests on, only get the sun at certain times. Let's see if we can find it. Ah, there we are, coming up now. There's one of them. I'm always taking those with different films and different cameras because they're good subjects, but it's very contrasty light now. A few interesting graves and mausoleums and stuff in St Thomas's Churchyard. I've done lots of close-ups of bits of these with the writing on it, and they make quite good test subjects. I can't let you get away without seeing the old ruin of the Becket Chapel in Brentwood High Street. 10th century this is, and I'm always using it for test pictures. It's a boring subject, I've done it so many times, but when I'm testing lenses you can get all the brickwork shown, and sometimes it's in sunshine and sometimes it's in shadow. There's, across the road is the Lion and Lamb, which used to be a very old pub, but now it's a Dorothy Perkins. So another old building, still preserved, but it's no longer a pub. Just gone past the Bay Tree. This is what's known as the Bay Tree Centre. Here's the other view of the Becket Chapel ruins with a Pepperell house next to it. That was donated by a rich business lady called Elsie Pepperell when she died. That was left to the people of Brentwood, and it's got an information centre in it. Well, we'll go down to a little lane and show you one other interesting subject before we finish up and wend our lonely way home. Now this is a little road called South Street, Brentwood. It's in between some very, very old buildings where there's supposed to be a secret passage. And there's a couple of restaurants down here, one of which was a Thai restaurant. And it had these interesting lions outside. And I'm always photographing them. They make good subjects, test pictures of portraits and things. And something looks a bit rude going on there. But anyway folks, we'll end on that little rude subject, because I'm going to wend my way home and have a well-earned cup of tea. So see you later. Well, I finished my walk around Brentwood, showing you one or two things, and I hope you liked the way I lined up my shots, which of course I duplicate on my still cameras. If you want to see these shots, go to my Flickr stream. Go to flickr.com and then search either Peter Elgar or Pentax Pete. I think there are actually two Pentax Pete, so you've got to get the right one. Maybe search Peter Elgar. When the photo stream comes up, there's a little thing called albums. You click on that and you can see all the photographs I've done with all my old cameras. And there's one called Brentwood Views, Old and New, and there's loads and loads of pictures around Brentwood in there. And you can give yourself a slideshow if you click on a little rectangle at the top with a little black arrow in it. It gives you a slideshow. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, please. Then you'll get a notification when my next video is on. So cheerio for now, because I'm a bit dry and I need a drink after all this chatting in my own inimitable style. By the way, I might go out again for another walk later with a stills camera. Don't tell the government or the NHS. I've been out twice.